Hi, and welcome to the channel. My name is Vlad. I am a DJ and one-man band music producer. I play all of instruments myself, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to mix with reverb. So if you don't really know how to work with space inside your mix, you don't know how to achieve a deep and wide mix, make sure to watch this video till the end because I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about reverb. So let's listen to the track first, and after that I will show you how I've set up reverb in this track. So what do you guys think of the track? Did you like it? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm working on this track. It's almost finished. Just need to do some mixing and I'm going to release it soon. So let's now talk about reverb. And for this project and for the majority of my projects, I have 3 rooms, and we're going to go through every single of them, and I'm going to show you what you can use these rooms for. So my first room is a big hall ambience, you can call it like that, and the purpose of this reverb room to create that, ceiling, to create that wideness and just fill the background of the mix. And usually, this room has the longest decay time, like the tail, the reverb tail, through all of the reverbs I have. It's the longest one. And it's not bright. It doesn't have a lot of high frequencies because I cut them down because the more far away is something, the less higher frequencies that particular sound has. So this is why I just follow this logic as it is in real life. And let me show you guys how I've set up my hole. So I'm going to send a little bit more. I'm going to exaggerate the sound so you can really hear the reverb. For example, we can, let's maybe use this lead with the bass, and let's do that now. So you can get the taste of this reverb, and now, let me show you the plugin itself. By the way, if you don't have this particular plugin, don't worry, you can use just any reverb plugin you have. They all do the same thing. It's more about, how you like your reverb to sound. So maybe you have this one. It's great reverb. I love it. Use it a lot. And let me show you. This reverb is really cool reverb because it mixes all of the algorithms, and it has an AI-based reverb assistant that you can use. So for example, you are playing the sound, you choose the style, more realistic, dramatic, size, and the tone, which is really cool. You can get, just like a starting idea that you can use. You can tweak something, but the most important concept for the whole reverb or the ambience is that it has the longest tail, it doesn't have a lot of high frequencies, and it has a slow attack. I mean, if we talk about room, for example, drum room, it has like transients, and since that big hole is really far away, it doesn't have a lot of these transients, so the attack is usually slower or smaller. And the pre-delay time is also the highest, since it's the longest reverb. It's really far away, and that is the key of this reverb. So you use this reverb to fill up the background of your mix. And let me maybe show you just another one, really popular one, Valhalla Vintage Verb. So for example, if I would set up the reverb, the ambience, the whole reverb, I would go for this track somewhere like 2 seconds something, because 3 is a bit too much. Let's say we use ambience, high shelf. Yeah, high shelf, something like that. Let's just add a tiny bit of higher frequencies. Now, the higher frequencies, I usually set up them around like 3000. The diffusion, since it's whole reverb, like ambience, I reduce the early diffusion and the late diffusion just a tiny bit. The attack time, let me check. Yeah, let's do something like that. The low cut, though, is really important. Since it's a reverb, we don't really need anything below 300, so I just cut everything below 300, and I even apply a equalizer just to make sure that, you know, it sounds clean and it's nice. And for the high cuts, I think we could go around 4000. Modulation, yeah, let's do something like that. So this is just basic thing I've done right now without even listening. And if we try to play this reverb, so let's mute this one. Yeah, so basically the same thing. I hope you guys get the idea for the whole. And now let's move to the next one. The next one you can call like a medium hole. Basically, it's almost the same thing as the ambience, but it has shorter tail, decay time, and has a tiny bit more higher frequencies. And yeah, basically, it's the same thing, and it's made for filling up the background, but not really far background. It's more like in front of you. And let's listen to the second one. So I'm going to send this lead to the second one. So as you guys can hear, has shorter tail, and yeah, just a tiny bit more higher frequencies. But basically, what you can do with the middle hole, maybe you can just try to copy the settings, and what you can do, you can reduce the pre-delay, reduce the tail, maybe tweak the frequencies. It's all about, you know, just checking if that sound works with your instruments. For example, this lead, and you just need to decide how much low frequencies you want, how much high frequencies you want. But the basic idea, the main concept is that you split your mix into dimensions, something far away, something in the middle, and something really near. That is the drums, for example, or some kind of small room. And there's one more thing you can do. There is a type of reverb called plate that was actually the first type of one of the first ones, you know, spring reverb, like that metallic sound. And it's really special type of reverb because it uses the tail. It's really special type of reverb because it's really bright, and it's something in between the ambience and the middle hole, and it's made for, you know, like exaggerating or accenting on some specific instruments, because usually the plate reverb has a really lot of high frequencies and it's really noticeable in the mix. You can read it, it cuts through. So let's make a plate reverb. I'm going to create a return track, and I'm gonna use the Valhalla Vintage Verb, and in the mode I'm going to select plate, and for this track I think plate is gonna be around 1 second, 1.2 seconds. The pre-delay is about like 5, maybe 4. The color, let's use the modern, because we want the bright sound. High frequencies, let's maybe keep them around 7K as a starting point. All right, the low cuts we're gonna make, I think we can make around like 500. Let's do 420. 420, it's meme, lol. The attack time, though, is going to be somewhere in between. The size, I'm going to tweak a little, something like that. The late diffusion, I'm going to make like that. And the same thing with the early diffusion, so something like that. The modulation, I think we can do something like that. But, you know, it's all about playing around and just trying what works for your mix, basically. The high shelf, let's do something like that, and let's do like, I'm thinking about 5,000 hertz, so maybe something like that would work. All right, now let's mute the previous reverb, and I'm going to show you. So where's the plate? Yeah, it's this one. Let's rename it, call it plate. And now you will see the plate in action. This is how the plate sounds like. We need more high frequencies. Oh, this is actually because this lead doesn't have a lot of high end. Let's try and... Yeah, I think the late diffusion sounds cool, sounds good at 36%. Since it's a plate, we don't need a lot of late diffusion. It's all about early diffusion, and the modulation for the plate, we can usually play around with attack time. Yeah, the attack time sounds cool. Yeah, something like that. We can try and maybe use this synth. I think has a lot of high frequencies. So let's try this one and see if that works. Yeah, so I hope you guys get the idea how a plate could sound in the mix. And now let's move to the last type of reverb you will have for your mix, and it's a small room for the drums, maybe just small room for some other elements like drums or maybe instruments to create even more dimensions in your mix. So for example, let's listen to the drums, and I'm going to send a little bit more, so just like exaggerate a little so you can hear how the drums room sound in the mix. Something like that. I found out that it's cool. So I've used Neoverb for this example. We can try and create a new one. So if I would use this one for my drum room, so let's try 80s. Let's try room. The pre-delay, since it's really small room, the pre-delay will be around something like that. The decay time, I think 84 milliseconds is cool. Now let's cut the lows. Alright, so we need to reduce the bass. Reduce the late diffusion. Maybe we can cut some of the high end. Attack time. and the size. Yeah, something like that, just basic room reverb for your drums, for similar kinds of instruments. So yeah, that was all about the types of reverb you can use for your mixes. And now guys, let me share with you some tricks I use for reverb processing. If you want to achieve a wide and a deep mix, do you know what you need to do? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think you need to do when you want to achieve a wide or a deep mix? And I'm going to tell you guys, it's all about the contrast. The contrast between something wide, something narrow, and something deep, and you get it, right? And what I do usually for my reverb is, for example, let's take drums, and the width of my drum room in this example is 25%. And the reason why I've done this is, first of all, it will take less of stereo space since it's almost in mono. That's one thing. And another thing I've just talked about is the contrast. Because we have really wide hole, maybe plate, other types of reverb. And here we have really narrow room. And this is what creates that contrast. And it's the same thing. When you want to do something deep, just the same thing. Something should be far away, something should be really like here in front. And this is how you create dimensions in your mix. It's really easy. It's not, launching a spaceship to the space, to Mars. And what else? Some other things I usually do to my reverb, I mentioned that, the EQ. So for the EQ, I usually do something like that. No, this is not drums. So let's quickly EQ the drums. So if you listen in the mix, and I think the EQ should go... Yeah, before the reverb, it actually sounds cleaner to my ears. But if you'd like to change the order of the processing, it's okay. I mean, we all are different. We have different approach. But in my case, I would use an EQ before the reverb. And as you can see on the spectrum, it doesn't have almost anything here. So we can cut this part, we don't need it. We will free up space for the drums, for other elements in the mix of a reverb. And yeah, and the next thing, and the latest thing I usually do to my reverb is sidechaining to the kick. And this just helps to achieve that pumping effect that you can hear in electronic dance music. And also you will free up the space for the kick, for the bass, since it's pumping. It's a really cool one. And I usually do that for all of the reverbs I have in my mix. And one thing I sometimes use, sometimes no, is a compressor. And a compressor you can, for example, apply before the reverb. Let me show you guys real quick. So for example, maybe -60 would sound good. And when we are working with the attack, we can reduce those transients, really unpleasant transients, and make the sound of the reverb more clean. So let me show you. And now let's increase the attack time and the peak. So you can really play around with the compressor dependent on the order you have, like an EQ compressor. The sound is going to change, but I would usually use first a compressor, then an EQ, and after that a reverb, and after that sidechain at the end of my processing chain. Yeah, I think that was all I wanted to share with you guys today. And if you liked this video, if you've learned something new, subscribe to the channel, like this video, click that nice little bell icon so you trigger the algorithm, and the YouTube will see that you guys are liking the content. You will be notified about my new videos, and it will help the channel to grow. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye.